kitty.
You believe it?
Yeah, kitty.
All right. Well, I am Grant from Screen Rant. How you guys doing today?
Hi, Grant. How's it
Great.
going?
Thank you,
I gotta
Grant.
say, I'm
Nice to meet
very
you.
excited to chat with you both for this film. I watched it the other night and was just absolutely floored from start to finish. So kudos to you both on that. JT, I will start with you first. How did this weird journey first begin for you as far as crafting the story and then developing the script for this?
I always have a lot of ideas. Some are good, some aren't. Some are, maybe luckily have some commercial value, some don't. But when this came to me very spontaneously as an image of a woman running through the woods in hospital scrubs. I saw her in slow motion. I heard the song Love Hurts playing. It was very detailed, and I didn't know why. And I didn't know why this could be a compelling story because it seemed very archetypal, the final girl in Laurie Strode in Halloween. And as it continued to inspire and develop, I realized that, maybe this is a different way to approach the final girl. And so the story came to me in the order you've seen it. And by the time I got to the end and realized where it was going to go, it was very exciting to me. I wanted to write it. And the writing process was fast with this one because it's fairly simple narratively. It's hopefully complex from a character standpoint, but narratively it's fairly simple. And I knew I just had to get it onto the page.
I love that. And I mean, it does, like you say, there's so much complexity to that simple structure. And I love that you also had the non-chronological right out the gate. That really did keep me guessing throughout the film. Giovanni, I will turn to you next. You've obviously directed before. You've had cinematography before on the music videos that you've directed as well. But how did you go about finding the look for this film in particular? Because I love how it jumps between color palettes, between sort of grindhouse feel and actual modern feel. What was it like developing the look for this?
Well, it was based on several months of discussions with JT. It always comes back to the story, and really for me, and I'm an actor, but I think this is that most filmmakers will agree that it comes down to the characters and what their journey is. And at some point we had discussed wanting to have each chapter feel like its own universe, but in a sort of evolutionary way, and to heighten and feel like visually you're ratcheting up the tension. And so I think that was basically that. And then ultimately Priscilla Elliott, who was the production designer, came on and was having conversations with JT and myself. And I think we arrived at sort of like a primary color palette, which was like reds and blues, and I don't know what, I mean, we just wanted to lean into that, There's I won't say anything. I don't want to spoil the movie.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been talking about primary colors for a while, and the movies from the past, like the Red Shoes and the Devils and Dead Ringers. I mean, from all different eras, all different genres, were really Blue Velvet. Were really inspiring at the time for me, and still just the use of color and how much it could evoke emotions. And then, during the process too, there was this idea, sort of like the Pixies in their songs, they do this thing, Loud, Quiet, Loud, where there's like a punk rock verse and then a refrain that's very sweet and quiet and romantic. And that inspired the writing process a lot, because we wanted loud and then quiet and then loud and then quiet, and just keep sort of kind of like, when you're shifting a standard vehicle and there's this refrain, but then you ratchet it even higher up. And so we were using the blues and the reds in certain moments to change gears in a sense. And yeah, I think color was a really effective way to do that.
Well, I love the way that you play with them throughout this film, because like I said, it really just keeps it vibrant. It keeps me engaged, and I just absolutely love it. And so JT, I'll turn back to you. This film, we've talked about how, it's very much important to be gripped by the characters to go on this journey. And I would love to hear about the search for Willa and Kyle, because they just deliver. I mean, I think some of their best performances yet, as when they've already delivered incredible performances throughout their career. Yeah,
they're both incredible actors, and I've said it many times. The movie, they're the pillars of the movie, and if we cast the movie wrong, it just wouldn't work. Wouldn't matter how well it was shot or how well it was written or any of that stuff. So we had to cast people who could perform in those roles, and it was an interesting thing. Was meeting with a lot of people, and I remember calling an agent who I really admire and as a friend, named Christy Hall over at Paradigm, and I had a few actors of hers in mind. We were going to cast the lady first before we cast the demon, and I was asking about some of her actors, and she was checking in on them, and then she said, I have one who I think is definitely the person for this. And I started watching footage of Willa Fitzgerald, and she was great, and I really liked her, but I couldn't really, there was a missing piece of the puzzle. I wasn't sure, because I don't necessarily, if somebody has a lot of footage, I don't like to audition if you don't need to. I like to take a meeting and see what they do on the screen and how they look on the screen in their footage. If they don't have a lot of footage, then of course we'll do a read, but I wanted to find what I needed somehow in her performances, and I hadn't quite found that yet, so I thought maybe she was going to read. And then my editor, Chris Bell, who lives 4 houses down from me in the Santa Monica Mountains, he called me up and said, I'm editing this movie, and there's scenes with this actor in it named Willa Fitzgerald, and you got to see her. And I said, wow, it's really weird. I've been looking at her for this role, and he said, come over to my house. And I ran over to his house, and he showed me these raw scenes. This movie he was cutting hasn't even been released yet, but she was absolutely lit the screen on fire in this movie. And I'm not sure how the movie is overall, but I know she was amazing in it. And it was the last piece of the puzzle I needed. And so I called Christy, and I said, okay, I think she's the one, let's take a meeting. And when I took a meeting with her, she had so much compassion and love for her character, which was very important. And it was different than any of the other meetings I'd taken. People didn't necessarily love and adore the character and relate as much as she did. And that's what I wanted. And Kyle, the same way. He really, when we had our meeting, Kyle and I, he just talked about all the things he appreciated about his character, who's like chasing this woman and with a gun. And it's really important to find actors who can find a connection with those characters, and we cast them, and I can't imagine it being any better choice. I mean, some people love the movie, some people won't, but I think those two performances are undeniable.
Well, I see I'm already out of time, but I got to say, I can't wait to get the word out for these people to see these performances, because I mean, it is such a fantastic film. You both,
sorry about that. That was probably my fault for spending 4 minutes on Willa and Kyle.
No, it's all good. I love hearing about all of that.
Yeah. They're incredible.
So, thank you guys both so much for taking the time. I absolutely appreciate it. And Giovanni, I also wanted to share some love. I've been a fan of yours since My Name is Earl when I was growing up.
Oh my God. Wow. You were growing up. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
I had to share the love. So thank you guys again so much.
Great to meet you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
How did I get so lucky tonight?